The knife hit the cutting board with military precision. Samuel Jackson's hands moved in patterns that didn't match his job title. 73 years of muscle memory. Techniques that took decades to master. The way he held that blade, curved fingers, pinch grip, rocking motion, that wasn't how dishwashers worked. But nobody was watching. "Jackson!" The voice cut through the kitchen like a cleaver. "Those dishes aren't going to wash themselves." 7:47 a.m., Prime Hotel, Manhattan. The breakfast rush was building. Samuel set down the knife, carefully. "The way you handle something precious." He turned toward the industrial sink, where towers of plates waited. His reflection stared back from the chrome faucet, a 63-year-old black man in a dishwasher's apron, invisible to everyone who mattered. Behind him, Executive Chef John Whitaker stood with his arms crossed. 38 years old. White. Yale Culinary Institute. Awards lining his office. He looked at Samuel the way you look at equipment. "Did you hear me?" "Yes, chef." Samuel's voice was quiet, dignified. The voice of someone who chose his battles. Whitaker smirked. Turned to Emily Chen, the young sous chef beside him. "Some people know their place," he said. Just loud enough for Samuel to hear. "Makes everything run smoother." Emily laughed. A small sound, complicit. What none of them knew, what they couldn't see beneath the steam and fluorescent lights, was that Samuel Jackson had once stood where Whitaker stood now, had commanded kitchens that Whitaker could only dream of, had cooked for presidents. They had no idea what was coming. 2. Setup. Day 1. 6:15 a.m. Samuel arrived before everyone, the way he had for 47 years in professional kitchens. The back entrance was his entrance now, not the front where chefs came in, not anymore. He changed in the basement locker room, hung his coat on hook 47, always the same hook. Inside his locker, a photograph. Samuel in chef's whites, younger, standing beside James Beard. Another photo, Samuel with Ambassador Chen of Nigeria, 1987. A framed article from Cuisine magazine, Samuel Jackson, the soul of American cooking. He closed the locker, locked away that version of himself. Upstairs, the kitchen was coming alive. Line cooks prepping stations, pastry chef tempering chocolate. The morning ballet of a 5-star hotel restaurant. Samuel started where he always started. The dish pit. "Morning, Samuel." Maria, the prep cook, was the only one who said it like he was human. Mexican woman, 50-something, 20 years in this kitchen. "Morning, Maria. They're saying there's something big tonight, some international event." Samuel nodded, scrubbed a pot. His hands moved with a rhythm that was almost meditative. 7:30 a.m. Whitaker entered like he owned the place. Because he did own it, in every way that mattered. He'd been executive chef for 3 years, turned the restaurant around, got a Michelin star, made Prime Hotel Manhattan relevant again. Team meeting, 5 minutes. The kitchen staff gathered around the prep station. 12 people, 11 white and Asian faces. Samuel in the back, where dishwashers stood. "Tonight is crucial." Whitaker's voice had that practiced authority. "We're hosting the International Diplomatic Gala. Ambassadors from 20 countries. The mayor. This is New York Times coverage. This is our moment to shine." Emily raised her hand. "Chef, what's the menu?" "Classic French. Duck confit, bouillabaisse, coq au vin. We're showing them what real cuisine looks like." He said real like it meant something specific, something exclusive. Samuel's jaw tightened. "Just slightly. Questions?" Silence. "Then let's make magic." Whitaker clapped his hands. "Jackson, make sure those dishes are spotless. We can't have ambassadors eating off dirty plates." Laughter rippled through the kitchen. Small, casual. The kind of cruelty that doesn't even recognize itself. Samuel returned to his station, picked up a sauté pan, examined it under the light. His thumb ran along the edge, checking for residue. Professional habit. The habit of someone who understood that every detail mattered. "Hey!" Emily appeared beside him. 26 years old. Culinary Institute of America. Fast track to sous chef. She pointed at his knife roll, visible in his locker. "Those are some serious knives for a dishwasher." Samuel met her eyes. They were a gift. "From who? A chef?" She smiled, mocking. "Did you tell them you wanted to cook when you grew up?" "Something like that." She laughed, walked away. What Emily didn't know, what she hadn't bothered to learn, was that knife roll contained a Masamoto Gyuto worth $800, a carbon steel Yanagiba from Kyoto, a custom Santoku made by Bob Kramer, each blade a museum piece, each one earned. 2:47 p.m. The afternoon prep was chaos. Whitaker was spiraling. The bouillabaisse base is too thin. He threw a spoon into the sink. We have 4 hours. 4 hours to pull off the most important service of the year. Samuel watched from his corner, saw the problems before Whitaker did. The stock needed more time. The duck was overcrowded in the pan, steaming instead of searing. The vegetables for the mirepoix were cut unevenly. Different sizes meant different cooking times. Basic mistakes, but Samuel said nothing. Kept washing. Kept invisible. 4:30 p.m. The phone in Whitaker's office rang. Through the kitchen, they heard his voice rising. Then, silence. Then, "Are you kidding me?" He emerged. Face pale, hands shaking. "Listen up." His voice was tight. Ambassador Okonkwo, the Nigerian Minister of Culture, just sent a special request. He wants... Whitaker swallowed. He wants soul food. The kitchen went quiet. Soul food, Emily repeated. Like, what? Exactly. He specifically requested authentic African-American cuisine. Said it's his favorite. Said he hasn't had real soul food since a dinner in D.C. 5 years ago. Whitaker looked like he'd been asked to perform surgery. We have 90 minutes until service. Chef, we don't do soul food. This from Pierre, the saucier, French, classical training. Our menu is French cuisine. I know what our menu is. Whitaker slammed his hand on the steel counter. But this isn't a suggestion. This is the guest of honor, the keynote speaker. We can't say no. Maybe. Emily ventured carefully. Maybe we just do our version? Like elevated fried chicken? Artisanal cornbread? Whitaker grabbed his phone. Started scrolling. Fried chicken. How hard can it be? Chicken. Oil. Seasoning. Samuel's hands stopped moving in the sink. He stood very still, watched this disaster unfold. Chef. Pierre again. With respect, none of us has experience with... Then we learn. Now! Whitaker was shouting now. Full panic mode. Someone pull up recipes. We need... What? Fried chicken. Mac and cheese. That's soul food, right? Collard greens, Emily read from her phone. Cornbread. Sweet potato pie. Fine. Make it happen. The kitchen erupted into motion. Frantic, disorganized motion. People running to storage, pulling random ingredients. Emily started boiling chicken, boiling it for fried chicken. Pierre was whisking a cheese sauce with Gruyere. Wrong cheese, wrong technique, wrong everything. Samuel watched the train wreck. 30 minutes passed. The kitchen smelled wrong. Looked wrong. The chicken Emily pulled from the oil was pale. Soggy. The cornbread was flat. The collard greens boiled to gray mush. This is... Whitaker stared at the plates. This is garbage. Nobody spoke. We can't serve this. His voice dropped to a whisper. We're destroyed. The review. The reputation. Everything. Silence stretched. Heavy. Suffocating. Then, from the back of the kitchen, a voice. Chef. Everyone turned. Samuel stepped forward, away from the dish pit, into the light. Chef, I can make soul food. The kitchen froze. Emily's mouth actually opened. Pierre looked confused. Whitaker stared like Samuel had just spoken ancient Greek. What? I can cook what the ambassador wants. Real soul food, the way it should be. Whitaker laughed. A harsh, ugly sound. You? The dishwasher? You're going to save my kitchen? I'm offering to help. Samuel's voice remained level. Respectful. If you'll let me. This is insane. Whitaker looked around, seeking support. This is actually insane, but hotel manager Richard Morrison had appeared in the kitchen doorway. Tall, black, 60 years old. He'd been standing there for the last 5 minutes, watching everything. Chef Whitaker. Morrison's voice carried authority that Whitaker's never quite achieved. Let him try, Mr. Morrison. With all due respect, we have 45 minutes. Your attempt failed. Let Jackson cook. The words hung in the air. Let Jackson cook. Whitaker's face went through several colors. Red, purple, white. Fine. Fine. You want to humiliate yourself, old man? Go ahead. When this fails, and it will fail, you're done. Fired. Understood? Samuel nodded once. Calm. Understood. He walked to his locker, opened it, pulled out the knife roll. The kitchen watched as he unrolled it on the prep station. 6 knives, each one gleaming. Professional. Expensive. Beautiful. Emily whispered to Pierre. What the hell? Samuel selected his gyuto, tested the edge against his thumb. Sharp. Always sharp. He'd maintained these blades for decades. I'll need chicken thighs, not breast, buttermilk, hot sauce, cornmeal. Not the fine one, the coarse grind. Collard greens fresh, not frozen. Ham hock. Chicken stock. Yellow cornmeal for the bread. Cast iron skillet if you have one. If not, I'll make do. He wasn't asking, he was directing. His voice had changed, still, quiet, but different. The voice of someone who had commanded brigades. Move. He said it gently to Emily, who was standing at his prep station. She moved. What happened next was 40 minutes of focused precision. 3. Confrontation. Samuel's hands moved with a certainty that silenced the kitchen. First, the chicken. He pulled 12 thighs from the walk-in, set them in a large bowl, added buttermilk, real buttermilk, which someone had to run out to buy. Hot sauce, salt. His hands mixed the brine with a practiced rhythm, no measuring cups. He knew. That needs to sit for 20 minutes minimum, Whitaker said from the side, trying to maintain some authority. We don't have. It'll work. Samuel didn't look up. Trust the process. While the chicken marinated, he turned to the greens, collard greens, the ones Maria had found in the very back of the produce cooler. Samuel washed each leaf with a thoroughness that seemed excessive until you understood. Grit in collard greens ruins everything. He knew this the way you know your own name. Pierre, I need that stock pot. The big one. Pierre brought it. Curious now, despite himself. Samuel filled it halfway with water, added the ham hock he'd requested, a bay leaf, black pepper, no measurements. Then he started cutting the greens. His knife technique made Emily's carefully learned culinary school cuts look clumsy. The blade rocked against the board. Chiffonade. Perfect ribbons. Not too thin. Not too thick. The sound alone was hypnotic. Chef, how long will the greens take? Pierre asked. Genuinely asking, not mocking. Hour and a half minimum. But I'm pushing it. 40 minutes will work if I do it right. Samuel tasted the pot liquor, the broth forming around the ham hock. Added salt. More pepper. Something else from his pocket. A small bottle. What's that? Emily leaned in. Hot pepper vinegar. Grandma's recipe. Been making it for 50 years. He added it to the pot. The kitchen filled with a smell that was completely foreign to this French restaurant. Smoky. Rich. Complex. Whitaker stood with his arms crossed. This is taking too long. Good food takes time, chef. Samuel was already moving to the next station, the cornbread. But I know how to make time work. He preheated the cast iron skillet Emily had actually found, in the very back of a storage closet, unused for years. While it heated, he mixed cornmeal, buttermilk, eggs, a little sugar, not much. His grandmother's voice in his head. Sugar in cornbread is Yankee nonsense. But a little bit don't hurt nobody. The skillet was screaming hot now. Samuel added butter. Real butter. Watched it brown. Then poured in the batter. Into the oven. 425 degrees. High heat for a high rise and crispy edges. 18 minutes, he said. To no one. To everyone. Back to the chicken. He pulled it from the buttermilk. Set up a dredging station. Flour. Cornmeal. Paprika. Garlic powder. Cayenne. Salt. Black pepper. His hands worked in a pattern. Chicken in flour. Shake. Dip back in buttermilk. Then into the cornmeal mixture. Each piece coated perfectly. The oil's not hot enough. He said it to Emily, who was standing by the fryer. It's at 350. Needs to be 365. For chicken this size. Trust me. She adjusted the temperature. When it hit 365, Samuel began adding chicken. Carefully. Each piece placed with intention. Not crowded. Space between them. Why not more at once? Emily asked. Actually curious now. Too many pieces drops the temperature. Temperature drops, the coating soaks up oil instead of crisping. You get greasy chicken. Nobody wants greasy chicken. She nodded. wrote it down in her mental notebook. The kitchen had transformed. Every person was watching now. The usual dinner service prep had stopped. Even Whitaker was silent. They watched this old dishwasher orchestrate a symphony. 12 minutes, Samuel said, each batch. While the first batch fried, he checked the collard greens. Tasted. Adjusted. Added more salt. The pot liquor was developing that deep, soul-satisfying flavor. The flavor that takes time and wisdom. The cornbread came out of the oven, golden, perfect rise, crispy edges. Samuel cut a small piece, tasted. His face remained neutral, but there was a tiny nod. Good enough. Chef Whitaker, Samuel's voice. I'll need serving platters. Your best ones. Whitaker hesitated, then nodded to Emily. She brought out the fine china. White porcelain, elegant. The first batch of chicken came out. Golden brown. Perfect. Samuel drained them on a wire rack. Not paper towels, wire rack. Let the air circulate. Keep them crispy. He began plating. Not like a dishwasher. Like an artist. Like a chef who'd done this 10,000 times. 3 pieces of chicken, arranged carefully. A generous scoop of collard greens, the pot liquor pooled at the base, glossy and rich. 2 squares of cornbread, a small ramekin of hot pepper vinegar on the side. The vinegar's for the greens, he explained. To no one who'd asked. To everyone who needed to know. You shake it on. Brightens everything. The plate sat on the pass. Under the heat lamps, it looked nothing like the French cuisine this kitchen usually produced. It looked better. It looked real. Taste it. Morrison's voice. The hotel manager was still there. Still watching. Someone taste it. Whitaker stepped forward. Reluctant. Picked up a fork. Cut a piece of chicken. The crust crackled. Steam rose. He took a bite. His face changed. Oh my God. Chef? Emily. Oh my God. Whitaker took another bite. Then another. His eyes actually closed. This is... I can't. How is this? He tried the greens, the cornbread. His head was shaking. Disbelief. Wonder. Maybe shame. Make 15 more plates. Exactly like this. Morrison's voice was firm. Service starts in 10 minutes. Samuel nodded. Got to work. The kitchen staff stood frozen. Watching the old dishwasher they'd mocked for months produce food that their executive chef couldn't even comprehend. Emily whispered to Pierre, "Who is he?" Pierre just shook his head. Because he didn't know. But they were about to find out. 4. Escalation. 6:47 p.m. The dining room. The International Diplomatic Gala was everything the hotel had promised. Crystal chandeliers, string quartet, ambassadors in formal attire, the mayor at table 3, New York Times food critic at table 7, everything perfect. Except in the kitchen, perfection meant something different now. Samuel worked the line. His line. Temporary. But his. He'd plated 13 more servings of soul food, each one identical to the first. The precision of someone who'd worked in kitchens where consistency meant everything. Jackson. Whitaker's voice was different now. Uncertain. The ambassador's table is ready. Yes, chef. They watched through the kitchen porthole window as servers carried the plates to table 1. Ambassador Okonkwo. 60-something. Nigerian. Distinguished gray beard. He'd been talking to the French ambassador when the plate arrived. He stopped mid-sentence, looked down at the food. His face transformed, broke into a smile so wide it reached his eyes. No, they heard him say. No, this can't be. This is real soul food? The server nodded. Prepared specially for you, Ambassador. Okonkwo picked up his fork. Cut a piece of chicken. The kitchen held its breath. He took a bite, closed his eyes. Mercy, he said, loud enough that other tables turned. Lord have mercy. This takes me back. This is real. He took another bite. Then tried the collard greens. His eyes actually watered. Who made this? His voice carried into the kitchen. I must know who made this. Morrison appeared at the ambassador's table. One of our chefs, sir. Would you like to meet him? Immediately. This is better than the meal I had at the Carter Center. This is extraordinary. In the kitchen, Whitaker turned to Samuel. His face was complicated. Pride and embarrassment fighting for space. You should. You should go out there. Are you sure, chef? Go. Samuel removed his apron, straightened his uniform, walked through the kitchen door into the dining room. Into the light. The ambassador stood when he saw him, extended his hand. You're the chef? Yes, sir. They shook hands. A long moment. The ambassador studying Samuel's face. I know you. Okonkwo's voice dropped. Don't I know you? Perhaps, sir. I've cooked at a few international events. Your name? Samuel Jackson. The ambassador's eyes went wide. Samuel Jackson? The Samuel Jackson? From the African Unity Dinner in 1987? From the James Beard House? The dining room was silent now, everyone listening. That was a long time ago, sir. You're a legend. I've told that story for years. The black chef who cooked for presidents, who taught us that soul food was American cuisine at its finest. Okonkwo turned to the room. Do you all know who this man is? No one spoke. This man cooked for 3 presidents. He was nominated for a James Beard Award 4 times. He won twice. He taught classes at Le Cordon Bleu. Okonkwo looked at Samuel's uniform, at the simple name tag. Why are you here? In a hotel restaurant? Samuel's face remained calm, dignified. Life takes you where it takes you, sir. But your talent, your knowledge. The ambassador looked at Morrison. Is he your executive chef? Morrison paused, looked at Whitaker. Back to Samuel. He's been working in our kitchen, sir. Working in what position? The silence was excruciating. He does dish service, Morrison finally said. Among other things, Okonkwo's face went from confusion to disbelief to rage. Dish service? Dish service? You have a master chef? A national treasure washing dishes? Ambassador, I can explain, Whitaker started. You. Okonkwo pointed at Whitaker. Are you the executive chef? Yes, sir. Did you know who he was? Whitaker's silence was answer enough. Did you know what he could do? We. You wasted him. Okonkwo's voice was ice. You had genius in your kitchen and you wasted him. The mayor stood up from table 3, walked over. Samuel Jackson? The Samuel Jackson? I ate at your restaurant in Harlem. 1995. Changed my life. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The New York Times critic was typing furiously on her phone. 7:23 p.m. The kitchen. Emily couldn't help herself. The moment was too big, too important. She'd pulled out her phone an hour ago, started recording Samuel cooking, the knife work, the technique, the quiet mastery. Now she recorded the dining room moment, the ambassador's recognition, the revelation. She posted it to Instagram. No caption needed. Just, the chef they forgot to notice. 7:45 p.m. Samuel returned to the kitchen. The other chefs were staring at him. Maria was crying. You didn't tell us, she said. All this time. You never said. It didn't seem important. Didn't seem Samuel. You're famous. You're literally famous. He shrugged. Was famous. Past tense. Whitaker stood in his office doorway, pale, shaking. Jackson, can I speak with you? Of course, chef. They stepped into the office. Whitaker closed the door. I didn't know. His voice was desperate. You have to believe me. I didn't know who you were. Would it have mattered? What? If you'd known. Would you have treated me differently? Whitaker opened his mouth. Closed it. Or would you have found other reasons? Samuel's voice was still gentle, still controlled. Other ways to keep me in my place? I'm not racist. I don't. You don't have to burn crosses to cause harm, chef. Samuel met his eyes. Sometimes it's just smaller things, little cuts, every day, until someone disappears. I'm sorry. Are you sorry for what you did? Or sorry you got caught? Whitaker had no answer for that. Outside the office, Emily's phone was buzzing, constantly. The Instagram post had 500 views, then 2,000, then 10,000, then, oh my God. She stared at her screen. Oh my God, this is going viral. The video showed everything. Samuel's technique, the ambassador's recognition, the revelation of who he was. And in the early part of the video, before Samuel started cooking, you could hear voices. Whitaker's voice. Some people know their place. Emily's voice laughing. Pierre's comment. Dishwasher playing with expensive knives. Everything. All of it. Recorded, posted, Spreading. 9:15 p.m. The gala ended. Success beyond measure. Ambassador Okonkwo shook Samuel's hand 3 times, asked for his contact information, promised opportunities. You shouldn't be hidden, Okonkwo said. The world needs what you have, but the real storm was just beginning. By 10 p.m., Emily's video had 500,000 views. Someone had identified Samuel. His Wikipedia page was being updated. His old restaurant reviews were being shared. The contrast was stark. A renowned chef reduced to dishwashing. A black master in a white kitchen, invisible until someone needed him. The comments were brutal. They had a legend washing dishes? Listen to how they talked to him. This is what systemic racism looks like. The disrespect. The casual cruelty. And he stayed dignified through all of it. That chef's voice saying, know their place, while Samuel Jackson washed dishes behind him. I'm sick. By midnight, 2 million views. By 3 a.m., number justice for Samuel was trending nationally. By 6 a.m., someone had found more videos. Security footage from the hotel. Months of it. Samuel arriving early. Working late. Whitaker's dismissive treatment. The pattern was undeniable. 5. Evidence reveal. Day 2. 8:47 a.m. Morrison's office. Emergency meeting. Present. Corporate counsel. HR director. Morrison himself. And footage. Lots of footage. This is a nightmare. The counsel rubbed her temples. A PR nightmare. A legal nightmare. Just a nightmare. On the screen, compilation videos made by internet sleuths. Months of security footage. Samuel being ignored. Spoken over. Dismissed. One clip showed Whitaker throwing a dish towel at him. Clean that up, Jackson. It's what we pay you for. Another clip. Emily mocking his knife roll to other staff members. Probably bought them at a yard sale. Thinks he's a real chef. Another. Pierre joking about the help getting ideas above their station. All of it. Documented. Time-stamped. Damning. How many employment lawyers do you think are watching these videos right now? The counsel asked. How many discrimination attorneys are reaching out to Mr. Jackson? Morrison was silent. And this. The HR director pulled up a file. His application from 7 months ago. He listed his experience. All of it. James Beard Awards. Restaurants he'd run. Credentials from Le Cordon Bleu. It's all here, in his file. Which means HR saw it, Morrison finished. And either didn't believe it or didn't care. We ran a background check. It confirmed everything. His experience, his reputation, his credentials. And we hired him as a dishwasher. The counsel leaned forward. Did anyone interview him? Ask about his experience? The HR director flipped through paperwork. Her face went pale. There's a note here. From the hiring manager. It says, despite impressive resume, candidate only seeking dish prep position, age 63, likely unable to handle line work, recommend dish station placement. Jesus Christ. Morrison's voice was flat. Wait. The counsel was reading her phone. There's more. Someone tracked down former staff. They're talking to reporters. They're saying this is a pattern, that the previous executive chef also marginalized black staff, that there's been multiple complaints to HR that were ignored. How many? 7. 7 separate complaints in the last 4 years, all from black employees, all dismissed as cultural misunderstandings or communication issues. Morrison stood. Walked to the window. Looked out at the Manhattan skyline. What's our exposure? Legally? Hostile work environment. Discrimination. Possibly systemic civil rights violations. Could be millions in damages. But honestly, the counsel set down her pen. The PR damage will be worse. We'll lose business. Employees will quit. We'll be boycotted. And criminally? Nothing criminal. Just profound, documented moral failure. 11:30 a.m. Whitaker's apartment. The phone wouldn't stop ringing. His agent, his publicist, his mother. All with the same message. Have you seen the videos? John Whitaker sat on his couch, laptop open, watching his career end in real time. The Michelin Guide had issued a statement. We are reviewing our rating of Prime Hotel Manhattan in light of recent events. His alma mater, Yale Culinary Institute, had removed his profile from their notable alumni page. 3 restaurants that had been courting him for executive chef positions had sent polite emails withdrawing their offers. And the comments. God, the comments. How do you have a legend in your kitchen and not even know it? The privilege of being so mediocre you can't recognize genius when it's washing your dishes. He saw a black man and saw a dishwasher. That's it. That's the whole story. Samuel Jackson has more talent in his left hand than this man will ever have. Whitaker's phone buzzed. Morrison, John, you need to come to the hotel. Now, I'm suspended. You said, this isn't a request. 2 p.m., the hotel conference room. Press conference. Morrison at the podium, cameras everywhere. This was national news now. Prime Hotel Manhattan apologizes unreservedly to Samuel Jackson. We failed him. We failed our values. We failed to see what should have been obvious, that we had a master chef, a luminary in American cuisine, and we reduced him to a role that utilized none of his gifts. He paused. Composed himself. Effective immediately, Executive Chef John Whitaker is no longer employed by this hotel. We are conducting a full review of our hiring practices, our HR procedures, and our kitchen culture. We have invited Mr. Jackson to help lead this review and to take on any role he desires in our organization. Questions erupted from the press. Will Mr. Jackson sue? Was this racism or incompetence? How long did management know about his background? Morrison held up his hand. Mr. Jackson will speak for himself. If he chooses to. The side door opened. Samuel entered. Simple suit, tie, dignified as always. He walked to the microphone. The room quieted. My name is Samuel Jackson. I'm 63 years old. I've been cooking for 47 years. I've won awards. I've lost awards. I've been on top of the world. I've been at the bottom. That's life in this industry. That's life anywhere. He paused, looked at the cameras. What happened to me happens every day. To people who aren't famous, who don't have Wikipedia pages, who don't get rescued by a viral video. Black folks, brown folks, anyone who doesn't fit what people expect to see when they picture authority or expertise or chef. His voice remained steady, powerful in its calmness. I don't want revenge. I don't want John Whitaker destroyed. I want something harder. I want change. Real change. I want kitchens where a black chef isn't automatically assumed to be the dishwasher, where experience is recognized regardless of the face it wears, where soul food is treated with the same respect as French cuisine. He smiled. Slight. Sad. Because here's the truth. My food saved that dinner. My knowledge, my skill, everything they'd ignored for 7 months suddenly became valuable when they needed it. That's not justice. That's just convenience. A reporter called out, "What do you want people to take from this? Look around your workplace, your kitchen, your office. Ask yourself, who are we ignoring? Who have we made invisible? Who could be extraordinary if we just looked? Will you sue? My lawyers and I are discussing options. But money's not the point. The point is making sure this doesn't happen to the next person, or the next, or the next." He stepped back from the microphone. The room erupted in questions, but Samuel was done. He'd said what he needed to say. 6. Resolution. Day 7. The fallout was systematic. Whitaker officially resigned. Took a position as a consultant for a restaurant group in Connecticut. His social media went dark. His Michelin star meant nothing now. Emily Chen issued a public apology. Quit her job. Started therapy. Posted a long Instagram story about unpacking privilege and doing the work. Some believed her. Most didn't. Pierre and 3 other line cooks were suspended for 2 weeks without pay. Mandatory diversity training, reviews of their conduct. The HR manager who dismissed Samuel's credentials, terminated. The hiring manager who'd written that note about his age, reassigned. The previous executive chef who'd created this culture, corporate found 7 years of complaints. Pattern evidence. He was quietly pushed out of his new position in Miami. Prime Hotel Manhattan announced a comprehensive overhaul, new hiring protocols requiring blind resume reviews, mandatory bias training for all staff, a commitment to hire 50% people of color in management positions, a new scholarship fund for black culinary students funded by $500,000 from the hotel. Samuel Jackson named chef consultant with a 6-figure salary and equity stake. But more than that, the conversation had changed. Day 14. The James Beard Foundation announced a special Lifetime Achievement Award for Samuel Jackson. The ceremony would be televised, national audience. Major culinary schools reached out. Would he teach? Would he lecture? They'd pay. Whatever he wanted. 3 publishers offered book deals. The Invisible Kitchen, a memoir, Soul Food, and The American Story. Cooking with dignity. But Samuel had different plans. Day 21. Press conference. I'm opening a restaurant, Samuel announced. In Harlem, where my first restaurant was. Same building, if I can get it. The crowd of reporters leaned in. It's going to be called Invisible, because that's what we've been. Invisible people with visible talent. It'll serve soul food. Real soul food, the way my grandmother taught me. The way history and love and struggle taste when you cook them right. He smiled. And I'm hiring. Kitchen staff. Front of house. Management. I'm specifically looking for people who've been overlooked. Older workers. People with gaps in their resumes. People who look like me. People who look like Maria. My prep cook who never stopped seeing me as human. People the industry forgot. When will it open? 6 months. Maybe 8. Good things take time. What do you want your legacy to be? Samuel paused. Considered. That I cooked good food. That I treated people with dignity. That I proved you can be talented and humble, skilled and kind, excellent and invisible until the world catches up. That's enough. 7. Impact. 3 months later, the changes rippled outward. The number Justice for Samuel hashtag evolved into number Invisible Chefs. Thousands of stories. People of color in kitchens. Older workers pushed aside. Women chefs denied opportunities. Immigrants with decades of experience working prep positions. The stories flooded in. Restaurant groups across the country announced diversity initiatives, some genuine, some performative. But conversation was happening. Culinary schools revised their curriculums, added units on soul food, on African cuisine, on Mexican cooking, on food justice, on recognizing expertise in all its forms. Emily Chen, after months of education and reflection, started a non-profit, Kitchen Equity, focused on helping marginalized restaurant workers know their rights, free legal consultation, job placement for those facing discrimination. She'd never cook professionally again. But maybe this was her redemption arc. Whitaker faded into obscurity. Some say he's teaching at a culinary school in the suburbs. Some say he left the industry entirely. Either way, his name became a cautionary tale. Don't be a Whitaker. It meant, don't let ego blind you to talent. Don't mistake authority for ability. Don't confuse your position with wisdom. 6 months later. Opening night. Invisible Restaurant. Harlem. The line wrapped around the block. Inside, Samuel commanded the kitchen. His kitchen. True authority, earned through decades. Around him, a diverse team. Young black chefs learning his techniques. Older cooks given a second chance. Maria, his former prep cook, now sous chef. The menu was pure soul food. But soul food as art. As history. As love made edible. Fried chicken with a crust so perfect it crackled like thunder. Collard greens braised for hours, pot liquor rich enough to make you cry. Cornbread with crispy edges and fluffy centers. Mac and cheese that tasted like Sunday dinner. Sweet potato pie that tasted like memory. But also, innovations. Soul food fusion. Korean collard greens with gochugaru. Miso glazed fried chicken. Curry spiced black-eyed peas. Because tradition didn't mean static. It meant honoring roots while reaching for new growth. Ambassador Okonkwo was there for opening night. The mayor. The New York Times critic who'd given the restaurant a rave review before it even opened. And Maria's family. And former co-workers from the hotel. And random people who'd followed the story. Who believed in second acts. Who wanted to taste justice. Samuel moved through the dining room after service, shaking hands, accepting congratulations. His face showed age, showed weariness, but also showed something else. Peace. A young black woman approached him, maybe 25, chef's jacket on. Mr. Jackson? I'm starting culinary school next month, because of you. Because you proved we belong. He took her hand. You already belonged. You just needed someone to see it. Now go show them what you've got, she nodded. Tears in her eyes. Walked away. transformed. The final message. Late that night, after the last guest left and the kitchen was clean, Samuel sat alone at table 1, where Ambassador Okonkwo had sat that night, where everything changed. He pulled out his phone, recorded a video, posted it to the Instagram account Emily had set up for him months ago. 2.4 million followers now. My name is Samuel Jackson. Today was the best day of my professional life. Not because I opened a restaurant, I've done that before. Not because we had a successful service, I've had thousands of those. But because tonight, 3 young black kids came up to me and said, "You made me believe I could be a chef." He paused, composed himself. That's what this was about. Not revenge, not gotcha, not even really about me. It was about proving that excellence looks like all of us. That genius comes in all colors, all ages, all backgrounds. If you're watching this and you feel invisible in a kitchen, in an office, anywhere, I see you. Your talent is real. Your experience matters. Your voice deserves to be heard. Don't let anyone make you smaller than you are. And if you're in a position of power, if you're the chef, the manager, the boss, look around. Really look. Who are you missing? Who have you rendered invisible by not seeing them? Talent is everywhere. Opportunity is not. Let's change that. He ended the video. Posted it. Within hours, another 1 million views. The comments rolled in. This man is a national treasure. From dishwasher to legend. No, from legend, incorrectly labeled as dishwasher, back to recognized legend. The dignity, the grace, the message. This is how you create change. Booking my flight to NYC just to eat at Invisible. This is the story we needed. Samuel closed his phone, looked around his empty restaurant. His dream, realized. His story, reclaimed. His truth, finally visible. Outside, Harlem hummed with life. Inside, the kitchen gleamed. Ready for tomorrow, ready for the next chapter. The chef they tried to erase had written himself back into history, and this time, he was writing in permanent ink.